Welcome back, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about the Watts case again. But today we're going to be focusing on surveillance capabilities, and in particular, we're going to be looking at the chest camera from the officer who responded to the missing persons report. We're going to talk about the capabilities of the neighbor's CCTV system, and we're going to be talking about what the capabilities were of the doorbell video system from the Watts home, along with dispelling some rumors that have been extremely propagated on the internet and here on YouTube in particular about possible other surveillance videos that are out there. So let's jump into it. Okay, first video picture. Well, I'm not going to put any actual videos in this, so if you're working and you can listen to this, great. So the first picture that we see here on the screen is of nighttime. It is looking at the garage doors driveway of the Watts home. You will see 2 yellow lines all the way to your left, and 3 red lines all the way over to your right. That is not the boogeyman standing next to the porch. That is a Frederick police officer who is there stationed in his off-duty hours to keep people away from the home. Yes, those crazed fans have been back stealing rocks and pieces of the bushes and whatever else they can carry off. So let's look at the garage doors first off. We're all the way to the left of the photograph. We're going to call that bay number 1. Now moving to the right, we're going to call that bay number 2. So that big door is the 2-bay garage. Then the other one, the small individual door, we're going to call that bay 3. Shannon always parked her car in bay number 1. So she would have parked her car directly where Christopher Watts backed his truck up to. All right, so that's kind of like gives you a reference point to how far over to one side of the garage she parked. Bay number 3, the small door, was filled full of kids' toys, outdoor activity stuff, pedal cars, bicycles, stuff like that that the little girls owned. Then there was, in bay number 2, there was an elliptical machine in there. There were tubs with their home. So that would have been in bay number 2. And in bay number 1 would have been where she parked her car. They could have cleared out the garage and there could have been space for Chris to park his truck, but we'll get into that later on about, possible reasons why he never did and what his excuse was, why he never parked in the driveway or in the garage. So now we're going to look at where the 2 double yellow lines are. The 2 yellow double lines are the motion area that the neighbor's CCTV had. Now I'm going to show you his home quickly, and then we're going to come back to this photograph. Okay, so the corner of the house that is closest to us before the garage door is there's a black light that's on there that has a motion detector on it that actually would turn on just the light. There's an exact duplicate of that on the left side of the door. The camera's still not there. Now there's a pillar that comes down from the roof to the ground. The camera is not on that. The far concrete brick wall that is on the opposite side of the truck, almost straight over from. Alright, so where the windshield of the truck is at an angle there, straight over against the wall, up at the ceiling there, bolted to the underhang area is where the actual CCTV is. So if you look at it really closely, it actually shows his entire driver's side of the cab of the truck, over the hood, and then you see the grass area there, and then you see the rock area, and then it becomes the Watts driveway where Christopher Watts backed his truck up to. Now we're going to go back to the other photo. So Christopher Watts backed his truck into the garage over where Shanann parked her Lexus, all the way over there into that yellow area. When he backed his truck into that yellow area, it triggered the motion sensor for his CCTV. And the way his CCTV is set up is it does not record 24 hours a day. It only records when it detects motion. Now, things some days, that are a half a block away can trigger the CCTV system, and he talked about that on the one video with the Frederick police officer, where he said, "I've caught cars turning the corner here, like see here, look at this car here going down the street." What that is a sunbeam gleaming off of his truck was detected as motion, and that turned on the actual camera. That is not something that the capabilities of the camera would normally have. It is a fluke, and he was talking about that, but he actually never called it a fluke. It was something that was not necessarily capability of the actual camera. His camera system records in 1080p. It does not record in 4K Ultra or anything between 1080p and 4K. All right. Now, the way that his system is set up is it's an aftermarket surveillance system that you can buy off of Amazon, Sharper Image, eBay. You can even buy it through some mass retailers like Walmart online. It's not sold in stores, but they do sell it on their online catalog. It retails for $169 to $179, right in that area. Very easy to install. Each camera is 3 screws, and they're wireless, so you don't have to run any cables. But it comes with one home unit that has the capability of being backed up to on a USB drive stick that you stick into the front of it. You can choose any one of the 4 cameras that it comes with to record just what is on that one channel, or you can, if it's already on the hard drive, because it has a hard drive that's like a computer hard drive inside, and it records over it, and it never stops. And then once it's filled up, it just starts goes back all the way back to the beginning, and it just starts recording over the same data. It doesn't delete the information beforehand. It records over the top of it. So the longer and the older the system is, the grainier the actual recordings are, and that's why we can't blow up in resolution, in a reasonable resolution, what he actually caught on the camera. And it doesn't have nighttime capability. It doesn't have infrared night detection on it. It is meant for daytime detection or low light but direct light. All right, so that is the area that is in yellow. That is the motion area for his camera system. Now we're going to look at the red area, the 3 lines that are over to the right. This is the area from the doorbell. Now, note how big of a section of the driveway is actually in the motion area. This motion area is recorded only by the camera itself. Now I'm going to show you a still from when Shanann came home in the last known footage, and you can see how big that section of the driveway is. Pay attention to that. All right. Now look at the edge of the garage there. That car with the headlights at her is her friend backing away after dropping Shanann. The figure all the way to the right is Shanann standing at the door, unlocking her front door. But you see how much of the driveway is actually captured, and that's it. It can't see around corners, and it's a doorbell video, but much better resolution on that camera compared to the neighbors. All right. So going back to the home picture here. All right. Now, as you can see, there's a large section of the driveway that is not covered by video. No video of it at all. No motion sensors at all. And they didn't even have a floodlight on their driveway that would trigger, a light to come on. if something was out there. All three of the lights that are on the garage in the front of the house there are operated by a light switch inside. They do not have nighttime, like it's dusk and they turn on. There is nothing like that at all on the outside of the garage. Her friend, when she came to look for her the next day, had to have pulled into this section in between the red and between the yellow to actually have her teenage boy stand up on the hood of her car and look in. The windows on there are 2¼ inches by 2¼ inches. But that's what he had to look through to actually see if her car was in the garage. Now, the video of her actually knocking on the door and windows they do have that, but it has not been released to the general public. So that's one of the rumors out there, is that that video doesn't exist. It does exist. It just hasn't been released because the DA decided not to release it. Maybe they will. I mean, they just released the footage of Shanahan coming home that night, so maybe they'll release that video later on. All right. So now we're going to move on to the chest video from the officer who responded to the home to take the report of Shanahan and the girls missing. What you see here in this photograph, on the far left-hand side, is the Frederick Police Department's SUV. It looks like it's an all black there. And in the street, parked about 2 car lengths up, is a gray truck with a gentleman standing alongside of it, and that is Christopher Watts. This snapshot was taken shortly after he pulled up. He came to a stop. He got out of the truck on the, and then walked around the front of the truck over to the passenger door, unlocked it, reached inside and grabbed something off of the front seat. I believe it's the cell phone, but I don't know that for sure because whatever it was, he put into his pocket. The white car you see on the left there is the vehicle that belongs to her friend. Now, that's where that is there. I'm going to give you a close-up of the same picture. Okay, so you see Christopher Watts is now shaking the hand of the Frederick police officer who is there to take the report. His truck is in the background, and you can see a little bit of her friend's car still in the driveway in that position. Next photo, I am going to zoom in a little bit closer. All right, now we're focusing on the truck. Now, this is a Ford F-250 Super Duty, and from what I'm told, I don't know that for sure. Could be, just a standard F-250, but it doesn't matter. It's not an F-150. And in the back there, we will see a long, shiny object that is square in nature. That is in the corner, starts in the corner that is closest to us. On the opposite side is a duplicate of that. Those are the 2 toolboxes that are in the back of the truck that are bolted in. There's another one up near the window, but you can't quite make it out because it looks like it's black from this angle because where it is. In between there, though, the 2 toolboxes near the tailgate, you see something that looks like it's a U shape that's sticking up. That is a hose, and it is hooked up to a Honda pump, and there is on the end of that hose, one end goes into the motor, the other end goes to an actual filter, and it's used for sucking up oil and then dumping it into the containment areas within by the tanks. So if there's a leak, they can pump out that oil and put it in the containment, and then they use a shovel that is there to scrape up the gravel, and that goes in there as well. What you don't see in the back of this truck is a shovel. Yes, I said not one, but in 2 previous videos that there was no shovel in the back of the truck. But quite a few people told me that I was wrong, that there was a shovel in the back, going as far as to say that the shovel was red and had a red handle. This is not true. I said there was no shovel. There never was a shovel, and it did not come from the Watts home. All right, I will go back now. This is the truck pulled up. If you want to see if I've altered the photo, please pause it here and zoom in on the truck. Here again is the truck closer up. You can zoom in on that to see if I've altered the photo in any way, shape, or form. To remove a shovel, still not one there. And here it is closer up. Now there's still no shovel there in the back of the truck because there never was. And again, I told you it wasn't there. Now, how do I know that he didn't take one from the home and then just discard it somewhere out into the desert? Well, because the CBI, the Frederick Police Department, canvassed the entire area around the tanks, and there was no shovel there, but there was a shovel, well, a spade. There was no spade or anything from the family home that was found there. There was no shovel anywhere in the desert that was found that he had discarded. The only shovel that was at the containment site is, I'm going to put a picture up of next, and this is why it took him so long to dig Shannon's grave. Yes, remember, he's not the brightest tool in the shed. That is what he dug the grave with. A square edge gardening shovel. It's a little bit bigger than a sawed shovel, but the oil company buys these in groups of 25 at a time. They buy them from a wholesaler who sells them only in quantities of 25. They do not sell them in quantities of 1. They only sell them in quantities of 25. This picture, if you watch the video of Christopher Watts coming in, he goes up to the garage, he puts in the code, the garage door opens, he walks inside, and then just before he opens up the car, the passenger door to Shannon's Lexus, you will see where that red circle is, a garbage can with a yellow rake and a shovel in it. You will not see a missing rake. He only owned one rake. He did not own a second rake and there is no grassy knoll rake. The rake that was found at the site where Shannon was buried came from somewhere else. It didn't come from the Watts home, and it wasn't anything that they used there on the job site. It was most likely discarded by someone when they were actually installing the tanks. Maybe they had it in the back of their truck and discarded it in the desert. The rake that was similar to this one, though, but was rusted and missing a couple times and didn't have any paint on it. This rake in his garage is yellow, and it is the only rake that he owned. All right, so we've covered the neighbor's CCTV. We have covered the chest cam video from Christopher, from the detective, and we've covered the doorbell video from the Watts home. Now, I took all 3 of these videos in full length, and I sent them out to forensic experts to tell me what were the capabilities of these systems. Now, I sent them out to one company in New York, and the other one is in Boston, Massachusetts. And both of these companies are experts in their field, and they are not affiliated with each other, but their reports come back exactly pretty much the same. Wording is a little bit different, but their diagnosis of the videos is exactly the same. What are their qualifications? They are experts in ACQ acquisition video. They are experts in input ACE examiners. They are DVR examiners and AVID experts, and they are licensed and bonded and experts according to the court system in all of those areas. Both companies have completed an extensive training program with the FBI, Quantico, Virginia, and have both filed and completed update courses since their initial training. Both companies have been written up in several news publications, Time Magazine, U.S. News, to name a couple. Both have testified in over 100 federal cases. Both companies have testified in over 200 state cases. Now, it's on the state level cases. Both companies hire a complete team. These are not just one-man shows. This is what they do for a living. They are forensic video analysis companies. That's all they do, is they mainly deal with police cams and surveillance cameras to what is actually seen on a video, and they will tell you what is on the video and what's not on the video. Now, I cannot use either one of their names because I have not hired them as an expert to testify in a case. I have hired them only to merely tell me what the extent of the capabilities of all three videos are and how are they saved. The Neighbors is saved to a DVR system that rewrites itself over and over and over again. And it has a USB backup system that where he could have recorded it onto a USB, which he did. He recorded one copy onto a USB and gave it to the Frederick and CBI, who would, along with the FBI, examined the video and found nothing really of importance on the video. He sold a copy of it to another company and then erased what was on the actual DVR. That is the truth of what the neighbor did. The neighbor, in his own statement, says he doesn't care. He's trying to sell his home, and all of this is not exactly the best deal for him while he is trying to sell his home. All right. And again, both these companies agree with what the capabilities are. The Watts doorbell is not a Ring doorbell; it is another company, and everything is saved to the cloud. There is no internal memory that now records and keeps the information there on the doorbell itself. It sends it to the cloud. Once it records something and then it turns off, it sends that complete video to the cloud. The chest cam from the officer reporting that day is downloaded at the end of his shift to the actual Frederick Police Department's database, and it's backed up, and they have a copy of it there. You can request a copy of it since it is open to do so, and you can request a copy for the other two, and then you can pay for it to go off to a video analysis, have a video analysis done of it if you would like. Now, we're going to dispel some rumors about possible other systems. There was no video surveillance system in the truck that Christopher Watts used from the oil company. None. Zero. Zilch. The GPS that was in the truck is something standard that came with that model of truck. The trucks are leased, and every 12,000 miles they turn the truck in and they get another leased vehicle. This vehicle only had 9,300 miles on it according to when they turned it in early and got a different vehicle. Yes, they didn't keep it around because they figured the oil company employees didn't want to drive around in the truck in. That's something that Christopher Watts did this in. We don't know where the truck ended up after they turned it in. Most likely they shipped it off someplace, far away. Either the East Coast or the Midwest, someplace where nobody's going to care. Because they don't know. All right. Next, there is no other surveillance system on the outside of the house or in the garage anywhere. They're not in the living room either. There are rumors on YouTube and on other websites that say that there was a hidden surveillance camera in the living room that Shanann had installed to spy on Chris to catch him cheating. This is not true. And they are using still photos from the Frederick Police Department's canvas of the home as proof that there was a surveillance camera hidden up on the ceiling. I'm sorry if you actually believe that, but it's the farthest thing from the truth. They put a camera on a post and took video and still photos of the inside of the roof of the in a living room because it's a vaulted ceiling area, and they also turned it this way to take a bird's eye view downward of the living room layout. And those photos are not from a surveillance camera that Shanann hid in the home, to catch Chris cheating. All right. Now, that's where we're at. When you thought this case was dying off and it wasn't worth reporting on anymore, the other day it came out that a detective from the CBI, detective from the Frederick Police Department, along with an FBI agent, went to talk to Christopher Watts on the 18th of last month, and they will be releasing a audio recording and a transcript of what they learned from him on the 18th here on March 7th. And from what I understand, it's not going to be the only trip that they're going to be making there. They do have several others planned in the coming period of time. They didn't actually stipulate, how long, but this case is not going anywhere. It's going to keep on. So, thank you again, everyone, for stopping by today. I know this video ran long, and I'm sorry about the audio quality. I'm working on that. So, as you can see, I'm trying. You stay safe out there. Until next time.